Hi, I'm Norma Anne Chattin, the Artful Tourist, for TV Lessons, talking to you today about rubber stamp styles for greeting cards. There are so many types and styles of rubber stamps and techniques. This is just going to be one small glimpse into a stamp style using stamps that we call collage stamps. They're called collage stamps because they're a combination of images on one rubber stamp. I'm going to show you samples first of the different types of collage stamps. This is more of a background collage stamp, simply because it doesn't have a big focal image on it. You probably would stamp this in a paler ink and then place things on top of it to use on your stamp greeting cards. Another example of a great collage stamp, and this is of course a much smaller size but similar in the collage style, is this stamp, and it's some of the things to look for in collage stamps are pieces that can be easily cut apart and reassembled, because that's always fun. And this one also could be used as a background stamp if you covered up some of the center pieces or collected it on pieces of paper. I have stamps from all ages, all years. This is a Hero Art stamp. The last one that you saw was an Ink-a-Dink-a-Doo stamp. This stamp is from a company called Club Scrap that is just too much fun and very addictive. This is sort of a combination. You could use this as a focal stamp or as a background stamp. I tend to use it more as background, or even cut this one apart and use the pieces separately. Here's one of the very first collage stamps I ever got, which is from Stampington & Company. It's a Claudine Helmuth design. I love this stamp. I still love this stamp. I'm going to do another video with cards on this stamp. But this is a collage stamp with a focal point, which is the Arc de Triomphe. But it doesn't have people in it. It has an object as its focal point. The stamp we're going to work with first today is this stamp from Stampers Anonymous, designed by Tim Holtz. And this stamp has a person as the focal point, but it has some of the qualifications that I look for in a stamp for stamp designs, which is images that can be separated and reassembled. A lot of people shy away from collage stamps because they can't figure out how to color them. This one is pretty obvious, and you could actually take your markers or your colored pencils, color in her face, her dress, have a good time with all of that. I think that takes too long. What I like to do is sit down at a session, stamp out a bunch of images, and then assemble them into cards. So we're going to talk about how to do that. The first thing you can do is stamp with this stamp on white paper. Now, white paper, fine piece of cake, should be easy. However, you got a lot of choices on white paper. Here's this image stamped in orange ink. Here it is stamped in yellow ink. And you can see I've stamped some previously, and gee, I bet I've cut some of those out. The first stamping that I always do, typically because I don't want to have to clean the stamp, so I'll keep working from light to dark ink, so I'll do something like this. This is that same image stamped with a multicolor stamp pad. There's a lot of brands and types. This is one by Kaleidocolor. You would take this particular pad, push the colors together, take your stamp to the pad. When you're working with a multicolor pad, be sure and put the stamp down. It's not going to fit the pad, and start moving it towards the top, but you don't want to merge the inks too much, so you just carefully move it just a tad back and forth so you won't have direct lines on your image. Now you've got your ink on the stamp, place it on the paper, press firmly. A lot of times I will take the paper to the stamp too, just because I'm one of those people that doesn't have a great deal of body strength. The longer you leave the stamp on the paper, the better chance you have of getting a clear image, because basically the gravity will take the stamp into the paper. I am using a porous white paper. Off-white is also very pretty. So is a non-porous paper, like similar to photograph paper, and pull it off. And you can see I didn't get a great job on that image, but you know what? With collage stamps, it doesn't always matter, because I could take something like this little girl over here that I did in orange, cut her out, and place her right in the center of that, and it would still be great. So you can just don't think you've messed up. I always tell my students it's happy accidents. There's no mistakes. All right, so I'm going to close that up and then look at the next thing that you might try, which is, instead of stamping right on white paper, why not decorate the paper and stamp on that? this was a piece of white paper. Here's what it looked like originally. On one side, I took some colored inks, like here's a yellow. I always start with the lightest color first. And this is a Ranger Distress ink. Then after the yellow, I layered on a little orange marmalade. Don't you love these names? So you get a little color on there. You can also use your kaleidoscope pad stamps too. Be sure to only move in one direction. So again, you're not messing up your lighter colors. But it's very random, but it works and it's a lot of fun. So you'll put some color on there, and here's the one I've already created. And this was created using dye inks on porous white paper. You see I've got a multicolored area and a regular area. If you use the same porous paper and softer inks like these chalk inks, you'll come up with something like this. All of them are pretty. All of them look great. Then you ink your stamp. Typically when I'm going onto here, I will use more of a dark brown than a black. I'm going to ink my stamp, take it to the paper. And again, like I said, because I don't always have the strength and I'm working around a camera, I'm going to take the paper to the stamp and rub that way. Oh, and by the way, can you tell I love this? Look at my fingers. Okay. There. There's your image stamped onto colored paper. Now you just start cutting and trimming from your different techniques. Like I said, I might cut the girl out of orange or the girl out of yellow. I might trim this around the edges because I like it. I might put somebody in that one. I might cut this and then do another one and cut the pieces apart, which is what I've come up with in some of these. This was one done just on the yellow and orange paper. And you can see I didn't cover the paper. There's some white that shows. Oops, and look at that. Isn't that cute? You can now, once you've got your main focal image done, I wanted to use this for a birthday card. I did this on several. You can just use a stamp of a smaller image, such as this cute little party blower here. And I even stamped this one on, remember I told you I cut out a woman there? I stamped this right in here. And that's how I came to get that party blower on that little girl. Oh, I'm running out of time and I'm having too much fun. Alright, so there's your multicolored. This is one stamped on print paper. This is a two-sided print paper. Just stamp the image on the print paper, maybe garnish it with a punch, which is here. This one I stamped multicolored and put it on to two color. This one's one of my favorites. It's got a lot of different pieces. This is a lavender background with a deeper purple for the little girl, multicolored for the numbers, and a yellow for the party horn. So you create these, and you can see what I've done. Okay, like I've already created 3 or 4 of these. This is not for the magic of television. This is for me to sit down and make a bunch of cards. This image is fun. I can use it for a lot of things. I just used this image and put a pointy hat on it and made a Halloween card out of it. You can put anything you want with it. Then you want to start assembling it. So this is one on the print paper that you saw. This is the flip side of that same print paper. See? Flip side of the print paper makes a little, and you'll know it matches because it already goes together. 3 circular dots, picking up a little bit of the red from here. A rub-on of a butterfly. Again, you've got stickers laying around, things you haven't finished using up from scrapbook projects. Here's the butterfly rub-on. Put it all onto just a half sheet of cardstock. It's 8.5 by 5.5, and you're done. You're set. Couple more to look at real quick. I love this one because it's the orange girl glued to the yellow background on fuchsia pink with a K & Company sticker and an orange card. Isn't that just fun? It's just bright, fun, cheerful colors. Excuse me. Here's the last one. This was put on